Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It's past Josh's bedtime, so he's not going to be joining us today, but I'm going to be talking with Luke and Eric, and we're going to be talking about video games and blockchain. Now, I hate video games. I like blockchain. I've slowly developed a little bit of begrudging respect for blockchain in video games. Especially, a few years ago when I was doing Tatiana Coin, we did an interview with Spells of Genesis, and so we were talking about that early, really super early use case. Now it's years later, and now we have this cross-project opportunity. Luke has been on the Tatiana Show before. He's from Brave. And Eric is the CEO over at Gala Games. And so now they've joined forces. And we're going to learn about that today. And I'm going to troll them a little bit because I hate video games. So welcome to the show, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. And I think you're going to love video games by the time we're done talking.
Are you sure? I'm not convinced.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll do my best.
Okay, cool. So, Luke, why don't you give me a quick background for audience members that maybe haven't seen? You've been actually on the show a couple times, but give us a little bit of background about, what your role is over at Brave. And by the way, if you guys don't have the Brave browser, oftentimes on the Tatiana Show and Proof of Love, we even have it, a link for you guys to download it. I make a bunch of money just browsing every month. I mean, a bunch, whatever, but if it goes up in value, it'll certainly be a lot. And it's not like $5 either. It's more than that. So tell us a little bit about Brave and what your role is over there.
Yeah, so I'm the director of business development at Brave. I've been working on kind of strategic partnerships and bringing more utility cases for BAT and kind of showing people how we can make business models that work with blockchain and privacy. We've done a lot kind of on the advertising side of things, and now we've really got some channels within Brave that we can use to promote partnerships and other angles. And we're at 22.2 million monthly active users now, and so the growth curve has been pretty strong and continues to grow. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Who's this?
Hi, I'm Jason, CMO of Gala Games. Sorry, I was having some camera issues.
I didn't know if there was anyone coming on the show. And you've got like the background, so I thought you were like some kind of I was waiting for you to like show me some porn or something awful, like a Zoom bomb, but like a welder bomb.
And that's why you let him in,
right?
Well,
I'm trying to I can show you a Dremel tool. I got a Dremel tool.
I don't know what kind of kinky stuff you're into, but if that's how you're going to get people interested in games, who am I to question your methods? Cool.
Welder first.
So you want to say bye, and then we'll bring it back to Eric?
Sure. My name is Jason Brinks. I'm the CMO of Gala Games, and I'm here having some camera trouble today, so sorry for being late. And I look forward to joining the rest of you to discuss Gala Games and what we're working on in the future.
Yeah, we're pretty excited to be learning about it. And Eric, give me a little bit of your background before you became CEO of this company. Like, how long has the company been around? And have you always been interested in blockchain, or what's the curiosity?
All right. So let's see. My background is in technology, entrepreneurship. Ever since I dropped out of college, I've been doing tech startups. And so I was one of the guys that started the company that built MySpace. I built a company called Zynga back in 2007. And let's see, to answer your question about blockchain, gosh, I kind of feel like you just asked me, what's my fascination with TCP/IP or HTML or some other kind of fundamental technology? My realization occurred probably 3 or 4 years ago that blockchain literally changes everything, and the first thing it'll probably change is games, and so that's why about 2 years ago we started Gala, and we've been working pretty hard to get to where we are today, and I got a lot more I could share with you, but that's kind of like the brief story.
Okay. So, all right. So you guys have a new game coming out. It's a role-playing game. What does that mean? Like, for people who are unfamiliar, which is 1% of my audience.
Yeah, so we have one of the, and you know what? I should let Jason talk about this because he's a bit of a fanboy about the guy who's building this game.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I am. So the upcoming game is called Mirandus. It's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, which essentially means that you get to be in a game with a bunch of other people and play a specific role that you want to act out in a medieval world. God, that sounds really geeky when you put it that way. But it's sort of a swords and sorcery fantasy sort of world. The main game developer behind it is Michael McCarthy, who's one of my favorite RPG developers. He's done a lot of other really cool stuff. He was also the creative director of Farmville 2, so he knows how to build things that are massively popular. And yeah, the entire mechanic of the game is basically based around having a deeply immersive world that you can be part of, and you can own property, and you can run a little store in it if you want. You can, build this world the way that you want to, adventure and play the way that you want to with all of your friends. So it's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
So how do you get a game designer? So my limited exposure in gaming, I read this book recently called Irresistible. And it's about how a lot of these social media platforms and games are built in order to addict you, right? So I have a twofold question. Number one, do you think that your games are addicting? Why are you morally okay with that? And then B, how do you get these guys who are building these really good games that are famous guys? Do you just say, hey, listen, let me give you a couple mil, come do this game with us, and don't do it with this other company? Like, why would somebody want to even build a game with you guys versus a different company?
Let me take on the first question around addiction and gaming. It's kind of like saying YouTube is addicting, or Instagram is addicting, Facebook, or television, cable, whatever form of entertainment that you want to talk about. You could almost call any of them addicting. I think that where it gets challenging and where it gets uncomfortable for game designers is when you're building a game experience that you want people to really want to play for a very long time, but at the same time you're building game experiences that are intentionally challenging, not challenging in a nice kind of way, but challenging in a kind of way that provokes you to spend money. So you have this situation where you have your game here and the players are here. So your game developers are working at cross purposes to the game players. That's the fundamental problem in the so-called free-to-play games market, which is a $70 billion a year market. I know plenty of game developers who are just absolutely fed up with the entire industry, because when they first started making video games, it was because they were making something that they would find really pleasurable to themselves or their kids or their friends. And what we ended up doing is building these games where we'd have paywalls, where you have effectively 20 minutes of free play, and then you hit this massive paywall. And through sophisticated data analysis, we knew that at exactly 21 and a half minutes, 55% of you would potentially at least be interested in paying. So yeah, that to me is where you start to get some of those difficult to answer questions. Is why would you make a game like that? Why would that be something you dedicate your life to? And frankly, that's why we're in the blockchain space today. And it's actually an easy sell. To answer your second question, when you can go to a game developer and you can say to them, hey, you could just make an amazing game. Make it so fun that people just love it. And you don't have to build in stupid paywalls or like irrational experiences that some product manager believes might provoke someone into spending money. All you need to do is make a beautiful game with beautiful assets that people just absolutely love, and then everything else is going to just work out. That is an easy sell for game developers who are used to just this soul crushing experience, and now this is the most kind of enlightening experience that I've ever experienced in this industry, and I think that's what's so exciting about it, is that basically everybody is in one line of interest. So the game player, the game developer, the publisher, everybody involved wants everything to be fun and ultimately have everyone's assets go up in value. Hopefully my sword, when I find it, a year from now is going to be worth more than when today. So and everybody benefits from that. So, the game developer is motivated to make even cooler experiences designed specifically for that sword a year from now. Whereas today, they might sell you something that's some virtual item and they don't care about it. As soon as it's sold, it's like, it's old news. It's like, we don't need to worry about that. We can't really, it's not important to us anymore. Now it's actually really important. That's one of the things that we're thinking about a lot is every time we mint an NFT, we think about, okay, how can we always add more value to that NFT a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now? And so that's, I think, an absolute fundamental and radical shift in the way games are being designed.
Are you guys going to get in trouble at any point? Because, you've got these in-game assets and people are trading them and they're just playing around with them like baseball cards and yay. But at some point, the overlords, they want their VIG. So do you think that they're going to, start saying, well, when you issue this game, you need to pay us because we own part of this, because now it's actually acting like security? I mean, is that even in the back of anybody's mind? Is this in the forefront of what's going to be happening in upcoming years? Am I just overly tortured by what's been going on in the crypto regulation side? Maybe they're just going to leave you guys alone. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a couple pieces to that need to be considered. The first is that it's very common in the blockchain space for people to talk about regulators like they're the bad guys, when the reality is that regulators are just simply trying to do their job and protect the consumers. And so I think that as long as we are acting in a way that is in the consumer's best interests, so far as we're able, then I think that will make that not as much of an issue. The second thing is that all of these items that are given to consumers, they are the ones who freely trade them. They don't trade them through us. They interact with smart contracts that are completely set apart from us. We don't list them anywhere, so that they can buy and sell them. It's all just, in fact, where most people are doing their buying and selling of items right now is on OpenSea. And we didn't even list there. That was just a thing that suddenly someone came into our Discord and was like, by the way, guys, you can do stuff here. So it's very separate from us. Our main purpose is to make fun games and make awesome games that people can play and own their assets in. And those assets, the value of those assets for us is in their in-game usage and how we can continue to build their value in that sense. So we might have a sword that you can use in one game. In the next game that comes out, we can take that same sword and give it more functionality in the next game. Or we can make it so that, in one game you could put 100 swords together and craft them into a tank or something if you want to move across game genres. So I think that your question is very good. There are a lot of concerns in this space, and there's a lot of regulatory uncertainty. But I think it's always about doing what is best for the people and what is best for the community. And I think that if there was a regulatory point that they would focus on, it would be on organizations that actually facilitate the trade, not so much on the company that prints the baseball cards, as in the place where they go to sell them, and that takes.
Let me add to that. Sure. We take it incredibly seriously. So, we're not interested in facilitating any kind of money laundering. KYC and AML is a very serious issue that we've spent a lot of time thinking about. Issues of securitization is also something that we're very cognizant of. And like Jason has said, that we believe that the good actors, the people who are genuinely trying to do the right thing, are much less likely to be attacked in that way, especially given how many scams there are out in the wild right now. We're one of the few projects that's we have actual revenue, we have an actual product. We have actual experience making these products. We didn't suddenly decide that games and blockchain was a great idea. We've actually made games before. And so I think that you can't get into this space without being aware of the possibility that something regulatory could come after you. But, for example, we never did an ICO. We know that the SEC loves to go after ICOs. We've self-funded this entire project, and so our token, while you can buy it, we don't sell it to you. So you can't buy our token from us. And much in the same way that like a Fortnite skin from season 1 is worth a lot more now, several years later, that's kind of how we're imagining things, is that hopefully we're really good at what we do, and 5 years from now, the items that we've created are worth more than they are today, because we've done our job.
If you don't mind, like it's also one of those things, like like everything Eric and Jason just said is just part of the reason why we wanted to partner with Gala, because like when we came into and did our token sale, it was a similar situation where it was like, look, we've got a working product, we've got team, we've got people that have done this outside of crypto. Like we see the value that crypto can bring to this, and I think that with this partnership, one of the cool things about it is you've got a scenario now where I can go and earn BAT for attention, which is like strictly like, white paper use case, right? Like I can take that attributed attention and apply it to a game that I'm also spending time and attention with. So there's this whole, like, it really plays into this whole utility story. And it's also kind of showing people there's added utility value with NFTs in the fact that like I can attribute my attention directly from a browser to a gameplay in the browser, right? Like, so it's all, there's a really like nice holistic angle to this, and it kind of runs counter to like what you see out there that people are concerned about with crypto and with the SEC and all this stuff. And especially like when you look at what games are doing kind of like with NFTs and with DeFi, it also gives like a different narrative to what you can do. Like if you have an in-game token and you make a liquidity pool, like there's a different value that brings than somebody trying to go pull a scam somewhere and rip people off, right? Like, and I think that that's the value. Like it just shows you how versatile and kind of the strengths behind these technologies when you can apply them with these different use cases and put them in scenarios where there's millions of people that want to do this and are doing this outside of this. So now it's on us to kind of like bring the added value to the masses through, Brave and through all these other efforts.
And one of the beautiful things about that, one of the reasons we love working with Brave is there are a lot of bad actors out there. And the secondary market for the video games right now is about a $50 billion a year market. And the problem with that market is that there's an immense amount of counterparty risk. So you're more likely to buy a skin from a hacker than you are to buy it from a real person. And what that hacker is going to do is it's going to report you to Epic, and they're going to reclaim their account and they're going to keep your money. But even still, it's a huge market, right? So, our thought is that working with companies like Brave, who take privacy seriously and security seriously, that there's going to be I think it was almost like a golden age of game development as you unlock all of this excitement. So if you didn't have all the TOS violations, you didn't have the counterparty risk, how big would the secondary market of video games become? Would it be 100 billion? Would it be 200 billion? And what happens, and this is why I think you should be excited about video games. What happens when we get another Farmville and we have 1 billion people trading in blockchain, and there's $200 billion a year being funneled through real use cases on the blockchain? I think that every single blockchainer on the planet will suddenly love games, whether they play them or not.
That's fair. Yeah, I absolutely recognize the potential for it's just such a wildly large audience that you can tap into there. Let me understand something. So you guys have your own token, and your NFTs are built on your token, and the BAT token is used as a currency to purchase some. Is that how it works? Like, what is the exact structure?
we currently accept 3 different forms of payment inside of Gala. So you can buy our items using BAT, you can buy our items using our Gala token, and you could buy our items using Ethereum. And we'll probably be adding some more eventually, but we feel that the Brave users are so in alignment with what we're trying to do that it just makes so much sense to accept BAT. And it's great for us, right? It gives us a chance to tap into that user base. It gives consumptive use for all the holders of BAT, and I think all around it's a great move for us.
Yeah, Luke, what was it about? You guys have really been focusing on content creators. Can you give me a little bit of an update on what's going on there? Because I know that you guys discontinued one of your content programs for the creators, and everybody was crying because it was very lucrative. But the party's got to stop at some point. So tell me about how content creator Brave interaction differs from gaming Brave interaction.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of like eventually they both are very well aligned, right? Because what we're looking to do is make it so that whether it's content creators with games or with just internet digital media content, we're seeing that they have a role, they get a reward, right? And as far as our program goes, we sunsetted our referral program about a month or so ago. It's funny because when we originally set it up, I think it was almost over 2 years ago. It was only supposed to run for less than a year, and it just went so well that we just kept it going. But you hit a certain level, and strategically we kind of want to reset and try a few different things out. So that's kind of what we're doing, is saying, okay, this served its purpose for what it was intended to do. Now let's go and create a new set of programs that can be more effective with growing out different verticals. So you could see us coming to market potentially with a developer fund where we could have funds from our user growth pool go to feed developers that are building with that, or go after people that are creating NFTs, right? Because NFTs it's a multimedia vehicle, right? So you could make a song, you can make art, you can make all sorts of things, generate an NFT with that. And that's also, if we could help facilitate NFT creation and help reward those creators, we're also kind of serving into the use case. So I think it's kind of an evolution, right? And we set out and we created that referral program. I think we were maybe at almost 2 million users, maybe. I mean, now you add 20 to that, right? And so you just have to kind of reset and kind of realign priorities too. There's a lot of things we're trying to build into the browser. At the same time, you also have a lot of scaling solutions and a lot of new things in the blockchain space that we could be taking advantage of. So that's kind of what the motivation was behind that program. We still are very much focused on creators and supporting creators and doing all we can to reinforce that and bring out features that will support that. And I think we just released some inline tipping features that are exposed to people, whether they're opted into rewards or not, as a part of that effort to kind of surface that feature discovery in Brave. So I think our mission stays very much intact from what it has been along. It's just you hit these certain growth levels and you want to kind of put a reset on some of these programs and rejigger them so you can even hit a bigger audience. And I think that's a lot of our focus is. But it's also in laying groundwork, right? We see the potential with blockchain gaming. We see, teams like Gala, they are qualified, they know what they're doing. You can see where this can go. Now, what can we do to help facilitate that? What can we build into the product? And so I think you could see, over time, us building gaming features into Brave that help to kind of keep them people playing the game and keep them informed and almost kind of reward them for kind of staying in the loop with things in the browser. So there's a whole bunch of features that we're working with the Gala team on kind of brainstorming to do for additional phases. But yeah, this is just an evolutionary thing basically. So we're very much in line with creators, supporting creators, and doing everything we can to make people earn more and help creators earn more.
Well, on that topic, right, so you guys were very kind to me. You offered me some ads with Brave. I got a lot of different people writing me. So I really appreciate that initiative around creators. I think it's begrudgingly fine. It's cool you're hanging with the gamers too. They need friends. But what about the advertisers, right? They're the ones with the money bags. I want their money in my pocket. And you guys are good at getting advertisers actual value for spending. I mean, I don't know if you guys have done anything on the gaming side, but overall it seems like the ROI for the ads has been really successful. Have you any new developments around that? And is that anything that's going to have to be doing with, do you get a free game every time you watch an ad, or like what happened?
Well, I don't think we'll put anybody through that, a friction. If we are, we're not doing our jobs. But I think that from where we're coming from, it's basically like, you can look at gaming as this kind of like a vehicle of this whole web where we can tie in bad and bring people additional rewards. But I think it's also a matter of just kind of like playing to the ethos, right? Like, you own your data, you own your attention. Why are we giving this away? And advertisers are understanding that. I think, it took a little while at the beginning for them to kind of get over the, the hurdles with, okay, wait a minute, you're taking my tracking away, yada, yada. But we've been able to prove that, we can show you a funnel and you can pay into it. I think that if you look at gaming, especially like esports and other areas in gaming, what we're doing here with Gala and with, in blockchain gaming is a new opportunity for advertisers as well, because you could see them, like, if we build right games and have the right fit for it, you could see an opportunity to put a brand in the middle of that mix and tell that brand, hey, look, here's a way for your brand to kind of live forever on the blockchain. Like, is anybody else offering you that? And the answer to that is no. And so, like, you can play off of that a lot. Like, and we're just kind of scratching the surface on what we can do with NFTs and how we can, adapt these to work with advertisers in the models. But it's greenfield. Like, I think, like, the things are warming up in the markets. Like, you've got more institutions that are getting involved with blockchain. Everybody's going to say, like, what else? Like, okay, I can make money with these things. What else? Right. And that's where gaming kind of comes in as a solid what else. Like, you can actually own that game. You're not going to commit to playing a game for a year or two, sinking a couple $100 into it, and then having to throw that out the window when you try the next game. Like, here's something where you can actually, keep those things you play with and take them on to the next thing, et cetera. So it's a whole, added value proposition to this whole thing that you can't really get anywhere else.
Okay, so what's planned for 2021? You guys just launched this. Give me the latest on what's going to happen. Is this game going to be the only blockchain-focused game this year? Well, assuming this year is now 2021. Do you think this is going to be something that you put out consistently? And then on the Brave side, what are you guys expecting to innovate into in 2021 as well? So let's start with the Gala guys.
We have at least 5 games on our product slate that we're hoping will get out in 2021 or early 2022, and that could go up depending on how things go. We have a lot of really interesting conversations happening with some AAA game developers, and there could be some pretty big announcements coming up that I think would be really exciting for anyone in the blockchain, really. So tease. At least, yeah, seriously, it's a big tease, but we're excited about it.
Cool. What about you, Luke?
Yeah, I think on the Brave side, see a whole new slew of features that'll be coming out in the next year, to add value to the browser, video conferencing. We did a proof of concept earlier this year that'll be coming out in Q1, and some other features. We had a VPN product we launched in July on iOS. You could see that hitting other platforms. More in gaming. I think in 2021 is going to be a year where you're going to see BAT in a lot more places than it has been, a lot more utility out there. We're putting a lot of focus on it. We've got, whole new initiatives team basically working on different ways that we can integrate BAT into more features in the product, and then also with partnerships and other things like that. So, stay tuned for that. But 2021 should be exciting. Hopefully we can get past all this COVID stuff.
I know. I'm
go actually see each other in person again. That'd be kind of cool.
Exactly. So, it's the end of the year. I have to do the traditional thing. What do you guys think is going to happen with Bitcoin? You think next year is going to be, are we going to be rich? Like, are we driving around in Lamborghinis and masks? Like, what's happening?
I'll tell you what I think. So I think the massive amount of money that governments worldwide have been pumping into these economies is going to create inflation, and we're probably going to see that inside of Bitcoin as well. So while I'm excited to see the price of Bitcoin going up, I temper that with the knowledge that we've added $6 trillion into the world economy just from the United States alone. I think that's the right number. And so what does, I think the last time I looked at Bitcoin, it was like over 20,000, like 20,700 or something like that. Well, what is the value of the dollar relative to Bitcoin now? I mean, just because it's 20,000 doesn't mean that I have the same amount of buying power that I did pre-COVID. So almost doesn't really matter what the price of Bitcoin is unless it starts going up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. What we need is the governments around the world to stop devaluing all of our fiat currencies.
Maybe it's a good driver. Maybe it'll drive people into Bitcoin. I'm not sure. What do you think, Jason?
Well, I mean, eventually, just to finish this thought, eventually what will happen is we'll be just trading crypto to crypto, and potentially fiat will just be this thing that, well, is not worth that much.
It's nice paper. It's nice paper. You can use it for all sorts of things. It goes nice on walls, for taking notes, those sorts of things. I think 2021 is going to be absolutely amazing. I feel extremely optimistic about the future in this coming year. I'm really looking forward to it. And yes, I am so looking forward to this whole COVID situation being done, because I'm tired of not being able to go out and do all of the things that I used to love to do, and traveling and things like that. I don't know, it's been like 9 months since I've been on an airplane. It's crazy. Yeah,
good
so
for gaming.
It is great for gaming. It is fantastic for gaming. It is fantastic for gaming. I'm just very, very white. I miss going outside. So yeah, there's that. I think that the price of Bitcoin is going to continue to increase in the short to medium term. As Eric was saying, though, I think that as looking at it as hedged or as in comparison to the dollar is probably not the best point of comparison, because I think I want to say about 35% of the dollars in existence have been created in the last 10 months, which is like insanity.
Yeah, 20%. That's what I heard of all global US dollars were created in 2021. So
yeah, that's
in there is bad.
Yeah, that's madness. So yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at it that way, in USD inflation is going to continue to go off the charts, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think that ultimately it will be crypto to crypto, while intermediaries attempt to get their VIG, as you put it earlier. So, I think that there is going to be some interesting regulatory friction, but I think that the value is going to continue to go up because you can't stop the signal.
Okay. So are we going to pump that next year? What's the plan? 2021, Luke, let's make it happen. I got my bats, I got my Bitcoins, I got my other crap.
Let's get the bat out of the cave. I think like Bitcoin hitting 20K is a big deal. I think that it's going to continue to probably go up. You start to see institutions like PayPal accepting crypto, and I think that aside from regulatory friction, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when you have commercial interests starting to play in this crypto space, given the ethos in the space, right? You're going to have a lot more mainstream people kind of getting familiar with what this is, while you've got a lot of people that have been in this for a long time that are very set in their ways about it. So it'll be an interesting continuation of the ongoing crypto Twitter, back and forth. But I think it'll be great. I think it's going to be a great year for Ethereum as well. I think, like I said earlier, the what else moment, right? Like you're going to get people that'll get in on Bitcoin because they're hearing about it, but they're going to want to find out what else they can do with this stuff. And I think, the Ethereum space has been really, really developing a lot of things that people can use. And I think that, you're going to continue with the scaling, they did that bake off in July, and all these new technologies that are coming out to help with the scaling issues. I think you're going to see a lot more activity around Ethereum as well. And I'm not any maximalist about anything except for BAT, really, but I think these things work together, and I think that that's the other thing you're going to see this upcoming year is a lot more interoperability between different blockchains and in real world use cases. So I'm pretty excited about what's going on. Nobody really knew in February, March what was going to happen, and things took a dip, but things recovered here. I mean, if you've been watching crypto markets for the past couple of years, when you see what they're doing in the New York markets, it kind of looks a little crazier than what happens in crypto, which is really weird. But I think that there's the energy in the space is kind of similar to what you had earlier in the web, where you've got really, really talented people that just want to build cool things and want to build things that are meaningful and are kind of tired of having, choice A or choice B. And I think you'll see more of that next year, but that's just my take.
Well, I hope so. I want more innovation and inspiration and less miserable COVID torture. so over it right now. Okay, guys. So can I play your game yet? We're coming up on the end of the show, but let's say I'm thinking I got to dip into this gaming thing. I heard it's really popular. I'm going to try it out. What do I do? Can I just download it? Do I have to be a wizard?
No, you do not have to be a wizard, although being a wizard is generally helpful in life situations.
I would say so.
If you go to gala.games, you can play Townstar. It's very easy, very simple to set up an account. You don't even have to have a wallet or anything associated with it. So you just set up your account and start playing Townstar right away. There's a few different places that you can go to find out information. There's some little pointers in the game, but if you're interested, you can go to our Discord in galagames.chat. And there's always lots and lots of very, very, very helpful, wonderful people who will walk you through getting started and help you understand what the various functions within the game are and how to build things and what the best strategies are and whatnot. We have an amazing, amazing community. I've been in the blockchain space for a long time, and I've never encountered a community like this one. They're super helpful and super positive and super wonderful. So I highly recommend you drop in and say hi to them, and we will, of course, help promote you to them as well. So,
why do you think that you got such a good audience? What do you think made them such a good connection? I mean, a crypto project is only as good as its users, right?
That is absolutely 100% true. I think that for me, the thing that sets what we're doing apart from what everyone else is doing is, one, we didn't have an ICO. One of the challenges that you have in a lot of crypto communities is people who say, well, I bought the ICO at X price and now it is X minus X percent. And now I'm angry and I'm going to be grumpy inside the community. And we don't really have that. We have a whole bunch of people who say, hey, I love playing games. This is great. I played a game. I got something for it. This is cool. Now I'm going to build a crane bot because I managed to collect all of these different parts. And it's just a very,
we also have people making money off of our game too, which is one of the intentions of our project. And, we have people paying rent off of the sale of the digital items that they've earned. We have full-time traders, I think, at this point, people just who are specializing in selling our items on OpenSea and actually in our Discord too.
Yeah.
So
is there any value in terms of that? Like, sometimes people will make the argument for me that, all these people in the Philippines, they could just like play video games and feed their family. And look, I'm happy that they can do that. But do you think that there comes a point in society where everybody's just going to be playing video games all day? Like, I don't know if that's the most productive
do you mind
thing, right? You're earning money and you're doing an action, so it's work.
Well, okay, now, I got something for you then. So here's something that to consider. So back, I don't know, was it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we all decided that when little kids making shoes for Nike was a terrible, terrible thing. And I think we all still agree that that is a terrible thing. But what happened afterwards is even worse. So in Cambodia, following that decision by the world community, the incidence of child sex slavery went up by 98% in Cambodia. So these kids who were making $1 a day, their other choice was go work in a brothel. So when you think about what's so exciting about what we're doing in the blockchain space is that regularly kids in the so-called first world countries spend $1 a day without even thinking about it. It's not even something that would even be noticeable to many of them. And if you could transfer some portion of the $200 billion a year being spent on video games around the world and put it into the hands of the people who need it the most, you would radically shift so many people's lives for the better. And I think to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I hope that kids in Cambodia are playing video games instead of working in brothels.
I'm not sure about that logic there. I feel like there was some kind of little trick at the very end. I'm not saying that they have to work in a brothel. I saw the good. I saw a case for sweatshops made by an old John Stossel video, and it is quite compelling. People in affluent countries are like, oh no, stop all the child labor. And yes, exactly like what you said. well, they can either make sneakers or they can, service the sex industry, which is clearly not preferable. So, before people go meddling, that's something to think about. Let's see how it turns out over the upcoming years. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on the project. All your links are going to be in the show notes. Any final words before we say goodbye?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a really riveting goodbye.
One of the things that we thought would be fun to do is if you want to do an NFT giveaway to your users, we could arrange something like that. That's something that would be fun for you.
Okay, sure. Why not? So how does it work? We'll have to, what are we going to do? Like leave some notes?
What we'll do is we'll actually create an NFT that is specifically tied to your show. It's going to be a little tiny co-branded collector's card that people will be able to use. It's going to have a Townstar character on it. I think we have exactly the right Townstar character for you. So I think that's going to be absolutely perfect, and it'll have your little logo on it, and your users will just have to click on a link and go to a specific web page to claim it, and we can get that set up, and we'll work together.
I think what we should do is every time you see the character in the game and you tap on it, it should say, "I don't like games."
Why am I in here? That's perfect. Okay, fine. I like that. So we'll play around, and I'll coordinate that with you guys. So when we put out the show, we'll let everybody else play along and try it out. Thanks so much for coming on, and we'll see you next time on The Tatiana Show. Bye, everybody. Happy holidays.
The Tatiana Show has been brought to you by CryptoMediaHub.com, a boutique marketing and PR agency for Bitcoin and beyond. What's the point of all this technology without a little love in our lives? Our hosts, Tatiana Moroz, Dr. Stephanie Murphy, and Lauren Kasovitz, have come together to bring you Proof of Love. Go to proofoflovecast.com. Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to The Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends. You are listening to The Tatiana Show. This show may contain adult content, language, and humor and is intended for mature audiences. If that's not you, please stop listening. Nothing you hear on The Tatiana Show is intended as financial advice, legal advice, or really anything other than entertainment. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Oh, and if you're listening to us on an affiliate network, the ideas and views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network that you're listening on or of any sponsors or any affiliate products you may hear about on this show.